Hello and welcome to Abhiram IAS Academy. This is Dr. K. Vinay Mohan here, and I welcome you all to the orientation session concerned with the GS3 concept, which is of course important for preliminary examination as well. That is the environmental studies and ecology. So you all are very much familiar with the importance of this subject, both in the preliminary examination as well as in the mains examination GS3. In the preliminary examination, we have around 16 to 18 questions asked from the environmental studies and ecology alone. And you know the weightage of this subject. So it is of immense weightage, and a large number of questions are asked from this area in the preliminary examination. And in the mains GS3 paper, we have around 3 to 4 questions asked from this area alone. So this area is relatively concise in nature. That means it is a low volume, high value subject. That means the total extent of the syllabus is relatively lesser, and the number of questions and the marks we get from this area would be greater. So that is why I request you to pay attention to all the components of this subject and get the maximum benefit out of this subject. Let me take you through the journey of this subject. What exactly is this subject? How do we approach this subject, and how to analyze the syllabus components and the changing trends in this subject, and how have been the questions asked in this, and what is the importance of concepts, what is the importance of applications, and what is the importance of current affairs or contemporary developments, and how to integrate them to increase the value or add value to your preparation. Let's have a look at this. So please understand that the subject is largely labeled as the ecology here, and also termed as environmental studies, or simply environment here, environment. So when we look at all these components, and for our ease of understanding, we can divide the entire subject into 5 different subheadings or subcomponents under which we will be studying. Our approach is going to be, number 1, concept building. Immense amount of weightage is given to the concepts, which are also called as basics, also called as fundamentals, which will help you understand the basic nuances of the ecological terminology and the governing principles, and those which are static in nature, which will help you understand the contemporary developments or current affairs in a better way. So we will spend most of the times in conceptual understanding or concept building. So first step of our approach is building concepts, and second step of our approach will be applications. What do you mean by applications here? Applications would include the day-to-day usage of these concepts to understand our reality, our surroundings. How do we apply the concepts to understand the reality, so that you can take better decisions, informed decisions, and behave in a rational manner? Your actions and decisions will be backed by educated gestures. And the third component is integrating concepts and applications with the contemporary developments or current affairs, contemporary issues or current affairs. Please remember that the questions may be based on current affairs or contemporary developments, but to answer those questions, you have to analyze the answer options, and you have to go into the applications and underlying basic concepts here. Yes, so all these 3 are very important and useful to you to answer as many questions as possible concerned with this subject, both in the multiple choice objective type questions as well as the descriptive or subjective questions in the mains examination. Now let's have a look at the syllabus analysis of this subject. Okay, so when we look at the syllabus analysis in general, before we enter into or venture into the understanding of entire subject, let me introduce you one concept called as the entire world is currently worried about one issue in the name of triple planetary crisis. You must have heard about this triple planetary crisis. That means the most pressing issues. Crisis is singular, crisis is plural. The most pressing or urgent or priority based issues which are worrying the entire world are included under this sentence called as triple planetary crisis. If at all there are any urgent issues which are worrying people, those will be included under this sentence called as triple planetary crisis. Triple means 3 components are there. What are those 3 most important or urgent or pressing issues the world is worried about? Number 1 is pollution. You know that we live in India, and our national capital, that is New Delhi, is considered as one of the most polluted national capitals in the world. So is that a good news or a bad news? So what it makes you think in general? So concerned with pollution. So pollution is of multiple types. It can be atmospheric pollution, which is also called as air pollution, or water pollution, or soil pollution, or pollution caused by plastics, electric and electronic wastes, and solid wastes, along with the noise pollution, thermal pollution, and the radioactive pollution or radiation contamination. And all these things are occurring every day around us, and they are affecting our health and causing diseases among many people. This becomes one important pressing issue the world is worried about. Across the country, across the world, many towns and cities are reeling under pollution here, and there seems to be no solution for this immediately around, and continuously the quality of life and standards of living of people are deteriorating or degrading across the world. What is pollution? What are the sources of pollution, and what are the pollutants or the causes of pollution, and how do we prevent it or mitigate it and eventually manage it? And what are the legislations, policy measures, rules, regulations, statutes, or any kind of institutions which are concerned with the addressing the issues arising out of pollution here? Second component of triple planetary crisis is climate change. And we all know that whenever two or more world leaders come together, they talk about climate change, which is a pressing reality now. When all world leaders meet, they talk about one thing in very common, that is climate change. What is climate? What is changing? And whether it is good or bad. If it is good, nobody would worry about it much, but it is a bad news. And what are the causes? What are the impacts or consequences? And what are the preventive and mitigative measures the institutions and governments are taking across the world, including India? We'll talk about climate change also, which is the second component of triple planetary crisis. And the third component is loss of biodiversity, or simply called as biological diversity in general. So what do you mean by biological diversity here? Varieties of plants and animals across the world, of course also in India. So why it is important? What is the importance or significance, or what is the benefit to humans regarding varieties of plants and animals? How they are useful in medicines, how they are useful as food, how they are useful as raw materials to various industries, and how they make our life comfortable on day-to-day basis. So such biological diversity is under threat. Human activities or human actions are the major reason for the loss of biological diversity, which eventually would cause harm to humans, not only in India, but across the world. So these three are considered as the three components of the triple planetary crisis the world is worrying about. So to understand the triple planetary crisis, we use this subject of environmental studies or ecology here. So keeping these things in mind, we divide the entire syllabus. We divide the entire syllabus for our convenience to understand it better, to build concepts, to learn about applications, and to integrate them with contemporary developments, so that we can answer the questions posed by UPSC, whether in the preliminary stage or in the mains stage. So the first discussion is about the concepts or the basics, wherein we learn about the terminologies, their definitions, their meanings, their applications. We also learn about many physiological processes, which may include certain scientific processes, certain concepts about chemistry or physics or the principles. We learn about the concept of organizational levels in ecology. We talk about governing principles of ecology. We talk about structural and functional aspects of ecosystems. We also talk about the movement of toxins, which we have had questions earlier in the form of bioaccumulation, bioconcentration, and biomagnification related concepts. We also talk about the biotic interactions, both positive and negative. We talk about the biogeochemical cycles, which are also called as nutrient cycles. And we also talk about the ecological succession as a process which occurs across the globe. So all these things would be discussed under the heading of basics or fundamentals or concepts which do not change over a period of time and which are essential to build your conceptual understanding of ecology or environmental studies. Next, for our understanding purposes, we divide the second chapter, which is largely application oriented concept called as environmental degradation. So that is a broad heading which is called as environmental degradation. That means the quality of the environmental components, that is air, water and soil. So these are the three major components of environment or our surroundings. And what is happening to it? The quality, the standards and the ability of our surroundings is decreasing to support life in a positive and constructive manner. What is happening to this environment around us? Why it is degrading? What are the causes for the degradation? And what are the sources for this degradation, and what are the consequences of this degradation? Consequences means impacts or effects. What will happen if environment is degraded? What kind of loss are we looking at, or what we experience on day-to-day life? This environmental degradation assumes greater significance here because we study environmental degradation under two different headings. First one is short-term environmental degradation. We study this under the heading of environmental pollution, a very important and the first component of triple planetary crisis, if you remember. And the second component of environmental degradation, which we study under the heading of long-term environmental degradation phenomenon called as climate change. And do not forget that climate change is the second and very significant component of triple planetary crisis. And the fourth chapter for our understanding purposes in the syllabus analysis would involve biological diversity, or simply called as biodiversity, and what is happening to it. We learn a lot about what is biological diversity and what is the significance or benefits arising out of biological diversity, and what are the threats occurring to, or what causes the loss of biological diversity, and eventually the impact of those losses concerned with biological diversity to humans. So we learn about biological diversity in detail, and we also learn about the recent discoveries of various species of plants and animals across the world, basis which you will get questions in the examination, especially in the preliminary examination. We talk about this, and loss of biological diversity is also third important component of triple planetary crisis. Do not forget about this. And once we are done with this, for our understanding purposes, we add the fifth component or fifth chapter in the ecology or environmental studies syllabus analysis. That will be the institutions, organizations and legislations concerned with all these issues. So the institutions, both international and national level institutions. For example, at the international level, we talk about United Nations organizations office concerned with the pollution, environment and loss of biological diversity, called as UNEP. You must have heard about this. United Nations Environment Program, which was established on 5th June 1972. And you all know that 5th June is commemorated as the World Environment Day. You know that. That is the day when UNEP was established. So this is one example of an international institution concerned with the prevention, mitigation and management of environmental degradation globally, including India. And then we talk about organizations here. There are many governmental organizations and non-governmental organizations concerned with or working towards prevention, mitigation and management of environmental degradation, including loss of biological diversity. Along with this, we also talk about various policy measures or legislations across the world and also within India. So international as well as national level, we call it as National Action Plan on Climate Change and national level actions concerned with conservation of biological diversity. So at both international and national levels, what are the institutions, organizations and policies brought in by the authorities for prevention, mitigation and management of pollution, climate change and the loss of biological diversity? When we talk about all these things, it gives you relatively comprehensive understanding of entire ecology or environmental studies for the purpose of this examination. When we discuss about all these topics in the class at Abhiram IAS, we also include or integrate seamlessly all these concepts and applications with contemporary developments or current affairs. We have to integrate the current event or contemporary developments or issues in general, making this subject relatively interdisciplinary in nature and comprehensive in applications. So please remember that most questions can be answered effectively when you not only study these in a systematic manner, but also seamlessly integrate them with contemporary developments or current affairs. So here at Abhiram IAS, in the classroom program, of course, which is delivered both offline mode as well as online mode for your convenience, we will be discussing about all these things in detail with proper structured notes making instructions given right in the class, and along with that we'll be conducting weekly tests for all the candidates here, and we have comprehensive mentorship program delivered in general concerned with the previous year questions and model questions and how to answer them in an effective manner, how to use scientific terminologies in the answer writing, and how to integrate them with current affairs or contemporary developments. When you do this, your answer not only becomes informative but also effective in presentation. So with this approach, we groom the candidates or students in a very effective manner so that candidates will become exam ready in relatively shorter period of time. So this is in brief about the syllabus analysis in general, and the components or nuances of the analysis of the syllabus here, and how we do it in a very effective manner, in a manner which helps you answer as many questions accurately as possible in the examination. And we request you to drop in, have an experience of demo classes here free of cost for a few days, and then you can take a decision regarding the preparation, how to continue your preparation. So this is what is the presentation here, and if you have any doubts or queries or questions, feel free to ask us by following the by calling the numbers mentioned below, or by visiting the institution at the address given below, and we'll be more than happy to assist you to add value to your exam, UPSC Civil Service exam preparation. And this is of course useful to many other examinations in India at the national level as well as at the state level examinations as well. So this is about the orientation of ecology and environmental studies and the syllabus analysis, the importance, and how we approach this subject at Abhiram IAS Academy. So hope this session was of some use to you, and we hope to see you soon in the classroom so that we can keep adding value to your examination preparation. And thank you and all the best.